Recorded Books presents Cursed Dynasty, Gravity City Book 3, by C.J. Valin and Artie Cabrera. Narrated by Pete Bradbury. Prologue. Balancing the Books. Volder Building, Gravity City, Nabuna. And just like that, the shit hit the fan. There was nothing that could shake the panic gripping Martin Pitkin. Maya Reed had done the unthinkable. She unilaterally announced the proposal of a conglomerate merger. Perhaps an acquisition, even. She didn't come right out and say it, but Pantheon was back in the hunt, and heads were about to roll. Sweat beaded Pitkin's forehead as he stepped onto the elevator. Fidgeting, he continuously checked his watch. The concierge called and said that his car had arrived. It was 80 stories down to the lobby. Still, not enough time to devise a plan on how he's going to squeak through this one unscathed. Where would he go? Maya Reed's announcement was more than just an adjustment or the familiar growing pains that came with stock trading. Stocks buoyed all the time, and the market crashed. It was nothing so drastic as to cause genuine alarm. Things had a way of working themselves out when you knew how to game the system, and the system was gamed like a well-oiled machine. That's where Martin Pitkin came in. He wasn't your ordinary stock trader, banker, bail bondsman, and occasional lawyer. He was on the dubious side of the money, an inside guy. He'd managed to pull quite a few strings for people high up on the totem pole and pulled them out of some tight spots. Some may have called him a cleaner, but Martin Pitkin was too old and soft to get involved in the muscle side of the business. With an atrophied arm and a bad knee, he depended on his smarts to do most of the heavy lifting. Some of his clients included politicians, moguls, galactic autocrats, reprobates, high society influencers, young celebrities, and some who may or may not have dabbled in the criminal aspects of life. In the end, it didn't matter. They were all cut from the same cloth when you got down to it. They all wanted money, they all wanted power, and it was all fueled by their unending hubris. The racket was simple enough. When opportunities arose, a channel of deep insiders toggled the data and routed a non-traceable wire along to Pitkin. Pitkin then made discretionary calls to those who needed to know before stocks tanked, keeping the rich on the upswing by day and sleeping like babies by night. Sometimes you had to let the market falter ever so slightly so that it looked legit. You even had to play and move clients' money around to make magic happen, but even his clients were privy to that. As long as he didn't completely shit the proverbial bed, clients gave him all the rope to work with to win them big money. Only the real losers and outsiders lost their shirts. The small players, the tourists and degenerates who gambled their measly paychecks away were what really kept the system afloat. They were the sacrificial pawns that fed the system whole hog and kept it from bottoming out. In turn, Pitkin was compensated for his deeds and took care of those who took care of him. Everyone was happy. Until tonight, that is. Maya Reed announced her absurd declaration on live television earlier, making shameless demands of the city. Pitkin relied on his channels for the heads-up when news like this was about to come down the pike. If it did, whether it was either going to be a windfall or a monumental disaster, it wouldn't have mattered. Pitkin would have ample time to cover it. It was fixable if bankers and investors got spooked and decided to pull out after the Seagazer incident. Pitkin always had a way to pull the suckers back in once the panic cooled down. If everyone decided to put all their chips on Maya, then the market would boom. It was a win-win situation. Except neither happened. Pantheon pulled out of the market altogether and went private, and the inside players went ghost on him. They all squeezed Pitkin out of the system, and the lack of warning spoke volumes. For Marty Pitkin, this spelled the end of his services. He didn't know what the future had in store for him, per se, but he had a pretty damn good idea what it was.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.